Check, check, check. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have another live stream. Just got up a video that I think you guys would find interesting, based on eggplant, something that we haven't really talked too much about. But like I said, I think that's one of the ones that you guys would find very, very interesting. So if you can check out that video, that'd be great. If you're interested in eggplant and all its health benefits, that's the video for you. So we're able to get on here a little bit earlier today, which I was really hoping for. Like I said, we got the video up. We got right on here. If I could see age and even where you're from, that'd be great. Mac, I see you in here. I see all the thumbs up to start, which is amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mac, for letting people know. Hit that like button. You guys know that the support means a lot to me. It also is very important for the YouTube algorithm and everything like that. And we do have a very, interesting topic to discuss today. Something that's come up time and time again, even in streams, but also in a lot of the videos that we've been making. All right, and it's kind of like that age-old question. How much fruit should I be eating? Will fruit make me gain weight? Will it be stored as fat? All of that different things. Fructose, glucose, sucralose, all of those things that we're going to be getting into today. So hello to Mac, hello to Nadine. I'm a cyclist. I'm considering consuming fruit for the majority of my diet, but I don't want to gain weight. Well, if you're a cyclist, Nadine, then you really need quite a bit of energy. So like fruit, other carbohydrates and things like that. So I'm hoping you get a lot out of the discussion today. But that's awesome. You're a cyclist. So fruit, can be good for you. It's going to give you that instant energy a lot more than certain complex carbohydrates and things like that. Now, just to start off, just a little bit of kind of homekeeping. I think we've been at these live streams for about 4 months now. And people have been asking me of ways of how they can support the stream, support the channel, and things like that. People were talking about, we're not doing memberships or anything like that. That's just something that I don't want to do with a membership option. Only members can be getting into the streams. That's not something I ever want to do. I want to make it an open dialogue to everyone. So we're not doing the memberships where you have to join and do all that type of stuff. Another thing that I'm not doing is creating a P.O. box, all right, where people are sending me things and all of that stuff. As much as I appreciate that and appreciate you guys wanting to do that, the best way to support the channel is through the super chats. All right, the super chats are the best way. If you want to support the channel, go through the super chat option. And like I said, we've been at this for quite a while, and I do appreciate that, and I will leave it at that, guys. Okay, so thank you very much. The super chats, the likes, all of that good stuff. Deborah came in crushing it with super chats the other week. So again, I'll leave it at that, guys. Let's get into our discussion. Good morning, Lydia. Hope you're doing well. Like I said, Mac, Nadine, Lydia, would be great to hear if anyone else is in here listening. I know we got some viewers in here kind of funneling in as we're beginning to start. I see those likes going right up. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. Now, let's get to the question at hand. Will fruit make you fat? All right, or will fruit cause you to gain weight? What we need to remember is the only way for you to gain weight is for you to be in a calorie surplus. And what does that mean? So say your maintenance level of calories is 2,000 calories. All right, if we're eating more than 2,000 calories, all right, and our maintenance is 2,000, then we're going to be gaining weight. It doesn't matter if it's fruit, veggies, protein, carbs, fat, anything like that. Now let's turn it a little bit into fruit. So fruit, it can push you over. A lot of people think fruits and veggies, I don't need to worry about the two. They combine them. All right, we need to start separating fruits from vegetables, all right, because they're just two different things. So I think that's the main thing we want to take from this discussion. Fruits and veggies, even though a lot of the times they categorize them in the same way, they are different. All right, and we need to know why. All right, and the reason why is because there's sugars in fruit, and in some fruit there's more sugars than other. So in fruit, there is both fructose and glucose. Now, let's also mention that these are natural sugars. All right, it's not simple sugars or anything like that. Okay, so fructose and glucose are natural sugars. Marianne, I love fruit. Sorry, I'm just catching back up. Thanks for joining, Marianne. I really appreciate it. I love fruit more than veggies, than veggies. Yeah, a lot of people do, trust me, to make an appointment with you, and they told me I couldn't see you because I'm in California. Interesting. I'm not sure which office you're referring to, Nadine, but I have no office, and I certainly have no office in California, but you might be referring to something else. All right, so one thing that we need to make sure is that we're considering that, fruit does have fructose and glucose. But remember, all right, those are more of your natural sugar types. Okay? So glucose is a simple sugar or monosaccharide type sugar. All right? And it's basically our body's preferred carb source. All right? It's simple, it's easy to digest, it's going to give us that instant energy. All right? Now another thing is fructose, all right? We know that glucose is a simple sugar, monosaccharide. Fructose is the same thing. It's a simple sugar, but let's even take it one step further. It's actually considered to be a fruit sugar. Again, a monosaccharide, just the same as glucose. So think about it. It's naturally found in all wide ranges of fruit. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about apples, pears, to mangoes and pineapple, which is going to have a little bit more. That's why I always tell you guys my favorite fruits, if I'm going to be suggesting any, are apples and pears because they also have fiber, so it's going to be slowing down that digestion a little bit. All right. So another thing which fructose is found in is honey. That's why I always say honey in moderation, things of that nature. All right. Remember, fructose and glucose can raise your blood sugar levels. That's something that we have to start to remember. All right, it's not the same as vegetables. That's why I separate the two. All right, so we have to separate the two because we're actually getting blood sugar level increases. Now, the nice thing is with fructose, all right, with different fruits, it's actually going to be impacting your blood sugar levels. And we see this with studies all the time. It's actually going to impact your blood sugar levels less than, say, glucose or sucralose or like your simple sugars like table sugar and things like that. Now, a lot of people will ask me, all right, what is sucralose? Well, sucralose is a little bit different, all right? Sucralose is a nice combination of glucose and fructose. All right, and remember, those are the two that's going to be in fruit. All right, and that's the one that's going to be sort of absorbed through the bloodstream a little bit more easily and sort of digested and stimulate insulin release. All right, and so when we think about insulin release, that's when we start to think about fat increases and things like that. Fat increases because it can be stored as fat. We're burning through it so quickly we often don't have time to burn the calories and things of that nature. Let me just catch up on some of the comments because they're coming in fast, guys. I'm sorry, I thought you were a gastroenterologist. No, Nadine, I'm not. And that's interesting that you were saying that. Wrong will. Sorry. Wrong will. Oh, interesting. Okay, maybe you're thinking of someone else. Alfonso, hello, I'm here to learn more. Thanks, no problem. Yes, how can I support? Well, the best way, as I was mentioning, Alfonso, if you like the content, all the videos that we've been putting up for 8 years, the lives that we've been doing for the past 4 months on a consistent bi-weekly basis, the best way to support is through the super chats. All right. There's no join or membership offered here. I didn't want to have to do that, so I'll probably never add a join or membership option just because I want everyone to be in here. You'll never see me make a membership option where I close it only off to members who can ask questions. So no membership, all right? No P.O. box or anything like that because some people have brought up a P.O. box. The best way to support Alfonso and anyone else is interested is through the super chat method. So I thank you very much for asking that. And if you do want to support, I appreciate that. It just means that you're enjoying the content. So remember, guys, with fruit, we have glucose and we have fructose. Fructose is the fruit sugar. All right. So, a lot of people will say, well, with fruit, it's a natural sugar and things like that. But yes, it is going to increase insulin. All right. It's kind of like a two-way street. With fruit, you're getting all the antioxidants, you're getting fiber, you're getting all the micronutrients, but at the same time, all right, you are increasing insulin production. You are increasing the amount of sugars that are entering your body. All right, so we know this now. All right, and a lot of people I know might be upset with that because they've been on sort of this way of thinking that it's okay to eat natural sugars, fruit sugars, and things like that. The real question becomes, will fruit make you fat? Will fruit make you gain weight? Now, here's sort of the big question, guys, and we need to answer this. All right, if we are eating fruit in moderation, and I apologize from OBS. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. Sorry, guys, it looked like my OBS disconnected. Can you guys still hear me? If someone can give me a yes in chat, that would be amazing. I think we're still good to go. It looks like everything on my end is just fine. If someone can just give me a quick yes in chat, then I think we should be good. But it looks like we sort of lost the picture there for a second. I'm not quite sure what happened. Sometimes this can happen during streams and with technology and all of that good stuff. All right, thank you very much, Marianne. I appreciate that. So we're coming back to the question now, will fruit make you fat? We have to consider this. Does it have sugar in it? Yes, thank you, Madhu. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. Does fruit have sugar in it? Yes, we know it has fructose, we know it has glucose. Sucralose is a combination of both of those, a combination of fructose and glucose. Now, does that mean that we're going to gain weight? All right, well, we have to think of this. Are we eating fruit in moderation? If we are eating fruit in moderation, remember, guys, I told you to think about this as sort of a pyramid. Thank you, Lydia. I really appreciate that. I'm not sure which recipe you're talking about, Lydia. I apologize. Maybe if you Google that, you might be able to find the melangine recipe. I'm not exactly sure what that is. So maybe give it a quick Google, a quick Google search, or maybe even discuss with your medical practitioner, because I'm not quite sure what that recipe looks like. I apologize. I don't just want to throw something that maybe, I'm taking a guess at or a wild stab at. But okay, if we're eating fruit in moderation, will it make you fat? All right? Absolutely not. And here's why. Because again, we have to go back to our maintenance and to are we eating a deficit or a surplus of calories? So even though, yes, fruit does have fructose, which is your natural fruit sugar. It does have glucose, right? But does that mean that you're going to be gaining weight? Again, absolutely not. That's why people were so scared of carbs. They thought carbs, because they were going to be, having carb intake, and carbs were going to be releasing insulin and be stored as fat and all of that type of stuff. You have to go back to a moderate diet of fruit. All right, so what does that mean? What's a moderate diet that consists of fruit? All right, I know there's a lot of people who are vegan or vegetarian, or even there's people who eat, mostly fruit, and they're not gaining weight. The reason why is because they're eating under their deficit. All right, they're eating under their maintenance, I should say. They're eating in a deficit, all right, of fruit. Now, we also have to acknowledge that there are some fruits that are going to have more fructose and more glucose than others. That's just how it works. Not every fruit is created the same. All right, so what are some of the higher fruit sugars? All right, fruits with that fructose, with the glucose and everything of that nature. Remember, the combination of both is going to create sucralose. All right, well, mangoes is one of them. This is why I tell you guys sometimes in in the streams. Oh, that's okay, Lydia, no problem. That's why sometimes I tell you guys in streams, because I'm a little bit sensitive to sugar, even though it's fruit sugar. Remember, it's still sugar at the end of the day. Fructose, glucose, sucralose, going to be creating spikes in insulin levels. All right, I have to stay away from things like papaya, grapes. I have to stay away from pineapple, things of that nature. Mangoes is probably one of the bigger ones. All right, so that's going to have a little bit more natural fruit sugar in them. All right, so I stay away from that. And if it has a little bit more of that, it might have a little bit more calories to it as well. So what are the fruits that I like? The fruits that I like, and I'll usually, give as, good sources to clients or even to you guys, in which I talk about quite a bit, pears, apples, things that are more fibrous fruits. All right, fibrous fruits are just fine. All right, that fiber is going to slow down the absorption rate of fructose and glucose. That's why I love it so much. All right, so you're going to have more sustained energy. You're not going to be spiking insulin as much, which is very important, as say you would with melon, we should say papaya, mangoes, things of that nature. All right, so the big one is, and same with blueberries. Blueberries are another great one. So the three that I usually will sort of recommend to people: apples, pears, and then berries. So like your raspberries, your blueberries, things of that nature. All right, those are super important for us. They're superfoods, especially blueberries. All right, I think you guys can still hear me. Perfect. All right, so will it necessarily make you fat? Well, it just depends how much you're eating. And I see we're already at 11 thumbs up, guys. Thank you so much. If we can keep pushing that 11, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. All right, so it depends on what type of fruit you're eating. If you're eating a ton of mango, pineapple, things of that nature, all right, as long as you can still eat all of those fruits as long as you're in a deficit. All right, but just make sure that we're aware, and a lot of people aren't aware of this. All right, again, there's two reasons why fruit is kind of controversial and why I want to kind of tackle this subject for you guys. Yes, fruit is very high in fiber, antioxidants, nutrients, but it also contains sugar. Okay, and sugar, all right, even if it's fructose, which is that fruit sugar, so natural fruit sugars, or same with fructose, glucose, things of that nature, all right, natural sugars, all right, it's still going to have an effect on insulin, all right, and triglycerides and things of that nature, all right. So if so insulin will be created, which is converted into triglycerides by the liver. And then when we have an increase in triglycerides, that's when the body can start to store some of those natural sugars as body fat. So that's where it can sort of hinder your weight loss and things of that nature. Again, at the end of the day though, all right, so we know triglycerides are being increased. We know that if blood triglycerides are being increased, insulin spikes and things of that nature, we are at risk of having an increased storage of body fat or an increased addition to body fat. All right. You just need to, at the end of the day, again, you just need to make sure you're eating the right fruits and watch your portion control. Remember, for vegetables, the recommended daily vegetable intake is 3 to 6 servings. The recommended daily intake of fruit is often 1 to 2. So that's a huge difference. And that's why I say don't compare fruits and vegetables and eat just as many fruits as you are with vegetables. We have to have fruit in moderation. All right. So if we're having it in moderation, then of course, all right, it's not really going to have that much effect on creating fat or being stored as fat and things of that nature. Okay. Will it make you fat? The short answer is no. As long as we're having it in moderation and as long as we're eating the right fruits. Again, what would be the wrong fruits? All right, fruit juices, obviously. Fruit juices we want to stay away from altogether. Canned fruit, all right, horrible. All right, we might as well be drinking sugar like pop and soda, fruit juice again. All right, it's just full of it. So Marianne, let me address your question here. I like apples, blueberries, and bananas daily, but I really love all fruits: watermelon, cantaloupe, grapes, kiwis, and pears. All right, well, that's awesome. As long as you're keeping that in moderation, Marianne, then you're doing a tremendous job. All right, apples, blueberries, bananas, that's great. Just try to pick. All right, watermelon is fine. You're not going to get a huge insulin spike through that. Cantaloupe as well. Grapes, you will. All right, grapes are fairly high in fructose and glucose, which again is going to increase insulin levels, increase those triglyceride levels, which can have the potential to be stored as fat. Yep, and that's all you can do, Marianne. Just keep trying, spread them out, maybe have your apples, blueberries, and maybe some grapes on a day. Keep it in moderation. Add some like cantaloupe and watermelon the next day and things of that. Okay? Now remember, it's serving size. So you can have a little bit of that. Just make sure it's at one serving size. So it doesn't mean, one type of fruit or two types of fruits. It's just one serving size of each. That would be like one apple, one pear, a cup of, say, grapes, maybe a little bit less than that. Okay? Afraid of becoming diabetic. I think if you're staying within moderation, Marianne, you don't have to worry about, or at least the risk factors of, diabetes are much lower, especially with moderation. I mean, it's not the exact same as simple sugars like white sugar and things of that nature. All right, we have to remember that as well. These are natural sugars and fruit sugars. Do they increase insulin? Yes. Will it increase as much of a spike in insulin than, say, like a soda or donut or things like that? Probably not. But it will kind of increase triglycerides, again, which have the potential to be stored as fat. All right, so that's why we have to answer the question, will it make you fat? So we know that it has glucose, fructose, sucralose, all of that stuff. There's fruit sugar, simple sugar, and things of that nature. Then I think you're doing a great job, Marianne. No white sugar at all. If it's just coming from not bananas, but fruits in general, and you're doing a good job of keeping that in moderation, then, again, this isn't coming from a medical practitioner point of view, but, your chances of diabetes are probably going to be a little bit lower. I can't say for certain, but you are going to be controlling that insulin spikes and all of that type of stuff, and diabetes. Again, obesity plays a big role in that. So again, just keep the fruit in moderation. No white sugar at all is great, like your donuts, cookies, all of that different stuff. All right, again, just be careful with that. So again, we also have to make sure that we're watching what types of fruits that we're eating. We've already pointed this out. You mentioned some really good ones, all right? Some great ones, all right? Blueberries, apples, even bananas, cantaloupe, kiwi, pears. Those are all great fruits to be eating, Marianne. I believe that was your comment. Yes, those are all great ones. Again, the high fiber that's in those types of fruits, all right, and they're lower GI. Like blueberries are definitely a low GI fruit. Same with apples and pears. But that fiber is going to slow down, all right, the absorption of fructose and glucose into the bloodstream. All right, so not creating the blood sugar spikes, and then from there creating triglycerides that can be stored as fat. All right, it's important. And if at the end of the day, guys, don't forget, we can eat the fruit even if it's a little bit higher in the fructose and the glucose. Pair it up with like a protein and a healthy fat. Again, that's going to slow down the absorption as well. So that's one tip that I would give to you. If you're, say, having hey Jay, hope you're doing good. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. If you are having, fruit, again, I always suggest that you have it in moderation. Okay? But if you are having it, say like grapes, mango, papaya, stay away from canned, stay away from fruit juices. But if you are having it, combine it with a protein and a healthy fat, because that's going to slow down the absorption of glucose, fructose into the bloodstream. Then you're not going to get the spikes, you're not going to get as much triglycerides being created through the liver, things of that nature, because those triglycerides do have the potential, we have to acknowledge this, do have the potential of being stored as fat. Okay? And then this really becomes a problem if we're eating a surplus of calories. So if we're eating a surplus of calories and we're eating a bunch of fruit while we're on that surplus of calories, then that potential to be stored as fat increases. Because we're already eating a surplus. We're already probably in the process of gaining weight. We're not going to be burning it off as quickly. That's why our cyclist in here, Nadine, I think it was Nadine in here, if you're going to go out for a bike ride, there's no problem with fruit, really, Nadine, because it's going to be used for energy and you're going to be burning it off, most likely. We can't say 100% or for certain, but it's going to give you that quick energy. That's why it's the preferred choice. Same with bananas, things like that. A banana before a bike ride or something along that nature. A banana after a workout so we can begin the recovery process. Nothing wrong with that. You need that, especially if your glycogen levels are low. So after workouts and things of that nature, as you're working out, we're burning up glycogen. All right, you're just going to be replacing it. Mangoes are quite high in fructose and glucose, Lydia. That's a great question. They're one of the ones that I certainly stay away from. Not because, again, it can be stored or it's going to make you fat or create you holding more fat or, being turned and converted into fat. But again, I'm just pretty sensitive to any type of sugar. It doesn't matter if it's natural, glucose or fructose or anything of that nature. I just have to stay away from that. But there is a little bit more natural sugar, fructose, in mangoes. All right, they're one of the highest ones, I do believe. Same thing with papaya, very, very high. They're very high in carbohydrates. So those are one of the ones that I would try to, limit and keep in moderation. Does it mean you can never eat mangoes? Absolutely not. I think mangoes is also known as the king of fruits. It's very high in nutrients and very high in health promoting abilities. So again, am I saying that you can't eat mangoes? Absolutely not, Lydia. Just make sure that you're having it in moderation. Okay? Now another one, again, mangoes, papaya, they fall under the same umbrella. All right, there's a few other ones. Grapes would also fall under that. Again, the canned fruits and things like that, fruit juice, we need to kind of stay away, or at least a moderate doses of that type of stuff. Like, again, the reason why I brought this up, we can't compare fruits and vegetables. A lot of people, again, are combining when they look at, a certain, diet plan or like a pyramid, they'll combine fruits and vegetables. But fruits are much different. Our body is going to act much differently and process fruits much differently than it would, say, dark leafy green vegetables. All right, that's just a fact. You're not going to get a huge insulin spike from eating broccoli. All right, there's hardly any sugar in that. All right, but there is high sugar. All right, again, even though it's natural sugar, fructose, glucose, all of that stuff, fruit sugars. All right, but there is both, again, which is going to create sucralose and increase insulin. All right, insulin spikes, and again, which can be converted by our liver into triglycerides, which can be, again, stored as fat. Strawberries are fine, Jay. Strawberries are fine. They're fairly low GI and they're low in calories. So I think with strawberries, you're fine. Again, just keep them in moderation. It's not saying eat a whole bowl of strawberries because, again, fructose, glucose, everything like that. But there's good fiber in strawberries. Where with mangoes, there is some good fiber and everything like that. But with strawberries, you're really slowing down the absorption rate of that fructose and glucose. So strawberries are good. Again, just keep them in moderation, and thanks. And, you're going to be doing good. Thanks so much. What about Pomerac? I've actually never heard of Pomerac. Is Pomerac like an exotic type of fruit, Lydia? Like I said, I've never heard of Pomerac. I eat a pineapple once a week. Is this okay? Well, absolutely. I mean, if you're sort of splitting up a pineapple throughout the week, then yeah, absolutely, Jay. I mean, you're eating it in moderation, so which is 100% fine. And don't forget, this isn't a hate on fruit stream. You know, fruit has a ton of benefits. Like with pineapple, you're getting a ton of different micronutrients. You're getting a ton of different health promoting abilities. Like pineapple has very rare digestive enzymes known as bromelain. So it's going to help with digestion. Again, I don't want to treat this as a, fruit is bad. Don't eat fruit because it has, because it's high in sugar or it's high in fructose or in glucose, natural sugars, and it can be stored as fat. That's not what this stream is. All right, the stream is just pointing out to start here that there are certain fruits, all right, where we have to acknowledge that there's fructose, glucose, which is both combined together. Both of those are monosaccharides, all right? And then the sucralose is a disaccharide, which can increase insulin, which again can be converted by our liver into triglycerides, which has the potential to be stored as fat. That's all this is. It's almost like an information sort of stream. Again, it's not a fruit-hating stream or anything like that, because at the end of the day, will fruit make you fat? Probably not if you're eating it in moderation. All right, you just need to keep it in moderation and you're good to go. Because if you're eating it in moderation, the simple sugars, the fruit sugars, all right, we got to think about the benefits of fruit as well. There's tons of benefits, all right? But we have to also remember that fruit is going to increase insulin levels, especially those high GI fruits like grapes, mangoes, papayas, pineapple to a certain extent, all right? The ones that are a little bit lower in dietary fiber, all right? But this is 100% not a fruit-hating stream. Or, again, my big conclusion is fruit will not make you fat. We just have to remember the things that I just sort of mentioned. There's benefits to fruit, tremendous benefits. All right, you've seen me list a number of different fruits as superfoods. Blueberries, I was super high on I think it was on Wednesday where we were discussing that. There's nothing wrong with eating blueberries and things of that nature. Apples, pears, all of that good stuff, having lemon water, okay? And you can boil the pineapple skin. Yeah, exactly. I made a video on that. Apparently the skin of the pineapple is supposed to be good for the digestive system. Yes, I would agree with that, Jay. I actually made an interesting video on boiling pineapple skins. What about plantains? Plantains are fine. Plantains are fine. Again, it just comes down to moderation. Plantains, very similar to bananas and everything like that, but I think it's a little bit lower GI. Bananas can certainly be a little bit higher GI, but they do have a good source of fiber. One of the sources of fiber, though, is resistant starch and pectin, two very important ones. That's why I brought up lemons. Lemons is high in fiber, all right? Pectin being the main one. All right, so if you're combining the two, then you're doing a great job with that. So strawberries are fine, everything like that. Again, just in moderation. So will fruit make you fat overall? The easy answer is no. All right, fruit will not make you fat. All right, can we store more body fat by eating certain fruits? Yes, there is the potential for that. And I see we're at 12 thumbs up, guys. That's awesome. If you guys can keep smashing that like button, that'd be very much appreciated. Thank you so much for all those likes. Again, appreciate it, guys. All right, so fruit making you fat. Again, we just have to make sure that we're eating the right fruits. All right, or we're not overdoing it in fruits. Because like I said, with mangoes, yes, you're going to have higher fructose, you're going to have higher glucose and everything like that, but you're getting a lot of benefits out of it. All right, benefits when it comes to antioxidants, benefits when it comes to the digestive system, benefits when it comes to micronutrients and all of that stuff. That's why I love blueberries and everything like that, because it's low in calories, it's a low GI fruit, and it has dietary fiber, which is amazing because, again, that's going to help slow down the release of fructose and glucose into the bloodstream, which will help prevent insulin spikes, prevent the creation of triglycerides, which can be stored as fat. Okay? So fruits at least once a week. Are superfoods high in antioxidants? Yeah, superfoods are very high in antioxidants. One superfood that I'll give you guys right now is blueberries. Blueberries have one of the highest antioxidant capacities out of any other types of food choices. Doesn't matter if you're looking at fruit, doesn't matter if you're looking at berries. Pound for pound, they're probably, if not the highest, have one of the highest antioxidant capacities out of any other food choice. Same thing with raspberries, they're way up there, and blackberries are really underestimated too. Blackberries are super high in antioxidants. Sweet pepper, can't describe it. Interesting. Pomerac. That's interesting. I've never heard of pomerac. It makes me almost want to Google it right now. Is it pomerac with a C? Okay, I think it might be with a C here. Pomarc? Pomerac. Yeah, Trinidad. It says it's definitely from Trinidad. Let's look at its nutrition. So I definitely don't. I'm not huge on, just Googling and certain things like that. But, this is one that's sort of interesting to me because I've never, I knew it was a tropical fruit just because I'd never heard of it before. Sugars. I can't seem to find the natural sugar intake of it, but that's okay. I think, again, Lydia, if you're eating it in moderation, I think you should be fine. I don't see it being higher than anything like mangoes or that type of stuff. So, again, if you're eating it in moderation, I think you're just fine with pomerac. Size of a sweet pepper. Yeah, that's what it looked like. I think it's red in color. I think we're talking about the same thing now. We're looking at having these types of fruits at least once a week. Yeah, at least once a week or a couple times a week is just fine. Again, just moderation is the key, guys. Moderation is the key. All right, again, it's not a fruit-hating stream. We need fruit in our diet. It's important that we have fruit, but we need to make sure that we're having it in moderation. Again, it's not to be compared with vegetables. Vegetables, you're not going to get that insulin spike, whereas fruits, with a lot of them, because they have fructose and because they have glucose, which are both combined, creating sucralose, which is just a simple sugar. All right, very similar to white sugar. All right, a disaccharide, whereas the other two are monosaccharides. So very easy for the body to absorb, which brings up our insulin levels and spikes insulin and creates triglycerides, which can be stored as fat. What about dried blueberries? Dried blueberries. I've never heard of actually drying out blueberries. Whenever you dry a fruit out, it does tend to increase the amount of sugar that's in it. So again, just be careful with that. I've never seen dry blueberries. I've seen frozen fruits, which Jay is bringing up right now. Frozen fruits are just fine, Jay. Frozen fruits, very underrated. A lot of people, will ask me about frozen fruits. You can't go wrong with frozen fruits, especially berries. I would stick to berries. Again, you're going to find frozen pineapple. You're going to find frozen grapes and things like that, sort of in like a mix of fruits and things like that. But there's nothing wrong with frozen fruits. Again, it's the easiest, maybe, and simplest one that you can actually keep for a long time and that you can actually, put into smoothies, which is a nice one. All right, so nothing wrong with frozen fruits. There's a blueberry video right now that's getting some good traction. on the channel, and a lot of people have been asking, are frozen blueberries okay? I actually left a pinned comment up on that video because there were so many that I just couldn't respond to all of them. When a video starts to get hundreds of thousands of views, there's just no way I can respond to all the comments. So I just pinned a comment up to that and let everyone know that frozen fruits are 100% fine. I'm trying. Thanks. Harinder, thank you so much for coming in. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you guys with this. Excellent. It's so much nicer doing these live chats when I can engage with you guys, when it's just not me talking and giving my point of view on certain things from time to time. I ranted a little bit about how fruits have natural sugar like glucose and fruit sugar such as fructose, monosaccharides, very easy for the body to absorb, which can be, increase our blood sugar levels, increase insulin, all right, again, which our liver's going to convert into triglycerides, all right? We needed to make sure that was said because not a lot of people know that. They think that the body will just, take the fruit and then, nothing wrong with that. Fruit sugar is different from any other sugar, where, we're finding that's just not the case because fructose and glucose both combined are going to lead to a sucralose. All right, again, your simple sugar, almost like your table sugar or refined white sugar, things like that. Too off quickly, so is freezing them a go-to? Yeah, I enjoy frozen fruit quite a bit, Jay, I have to say. Especially blueberries. Raspberries are a good one, guys. Raspberries make an excellent one. Thank you so much, guys, for pumping up that like button. I see we're already at 15. I always try to get a goal of 30. So if we can try to aim for that, we are halfway there. Thank you so much for all the likes, guys. And 100%. And my pleasure, Lydia. And 100%, Jay. Great for smoothies. So just remember, here's the big takeaway, because I want to get into what some of the things that will actually, be stored as fat. Okay, because fruit is not our enemy. Fruit is not an enemy, guys. We just want to make sure that we're keeping it in moderation and that we know that it does have fructose and simple sugars. All right, that's the important thing. And how our body reacts to that is important to know as well. Yes, it's going to create increased insulin. Yes, it's going to create blood sugar spikes. To the degree of like a donut or cookies or things like that, probably not. But it is going to be converted into triglycerides, which can, be stored as fat, especially if we're not burning them off. So if you're not getting movement in, you could also call it exercise. I like to call it movement. If we're living a sedentary lifestyle, you're increasing your risk of those fruit sugars, which is creating insulin, which is going to be converted into triglycerides, being stored as fat. So as long as we're not living a sedentary lifestyle, then we're usually pretty good to go when it comes to fruit. Now remember, again, I will repeat, that's the makeup of fruit, and that's how our body reacts to fruit. All right? So if you're looking, for weight loss and things of that nature, I've already said this. All right, I've already said this, and you'll see dietitians saying this. All right, again, I'm not a dietitian. I'm just someone who's researched food for the last 10 years. All right, on a daily basis. You know that with the videos that are coming out. All right, so for weight loss and things like that, stick to lower GI, so glycemic index fruits, all right, that are higher in fiber. All right, it's that simple, and just have it in moderation, all right? Because if you're doing that, then you're slowing down the absorption rate of those sugars that we've already mentioned and named tons and tons of times over the course of this live stream. All right, so again, what are some of those good choices? We've already said those as well, and you guys have brought up some great ones as well. Berries, apples, pears. That's why when Nadine made her list, those were the ones I sort of picked out. All right, I stuck away from the watermelon, cantaloupe, things like that, the grapes, all right, berries, apples, pears, any type of berry is really going to be good for you. That's why I said to Jay, strawberries are just fine because they're higher in fiber and they're lower GI. So you guys can have those, all right? So there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I just want to reiterate, this is not a fruit-hating stream. All right. Will it make you fat? If you're eating it in moderation and you're staying in a deficit, then absolutely not. It will not cause, significant fat gain or significant weight gain. All right. Weight gain and fat gain being, the two main things. All right. So let's talk about things that will lead to fat increases. All right. What will lead, to increasing fat? All right. Is it fruit? Well, maybe eating fruit beyond moderation. Say if you're eating, I know some people or had some clients who are eating 6-7 pieces of fruit, especially in the summer. Say when cantaloupe, pineapple, mangoes, watermelon, on top of apples, blueberries, pears, all of that other stuff. Tons of berries become, more prevalent because it's in season. If you're eating that much fruit, then yes, you do have a bigger chance of, gaining fat, gaining weight. Is it necessarily have to do with the structure of the fruit, with the high fructose, high glucose, higher glucose? I would say you would be more inclined to gain weight just because you're eating so many calories based on that stuff. Grapes are another one, tons of calories in grapes. All right, I've had to limit people's grapes intake just because they're eating way too many grapes. All right. So again, it might not be the fruit per se that's making you gain the weight because of the fructose and the glucose. It's just you might be eating too many calories. The fruit is pushing you over your maintenance into a surplus of calories. And that's something we can't have if you're trying to lose weight or trying to lose body fat. Jay, what about using a juice presser instead of having concentrated juices? Absolutely. If you can do it in smoothies, even better, because that juice presser is going to get rid of a lot of the fiber, and we want that fiber in there because then your that fiber again is going to slow down the digestive process, especially of higher GI fruits. So I think that's great. Right? Just be careful with the fruit juice because you don't want to end up with just the juice. Very similar almost to a concentrated juice, just maybe not as much sugar added. All right, but there will be glucose and fructose that are in that. And by juicing it, you're getting rid of a lot of the fiber and stuff like that. So just be careful on that level. That's why I like smoothies so much, guys. So what are some of the things, if it's not fruit, that are necessary? If we're eating it in moderation, remember 1 to 2 fruits per day. That's the big one. All right, 1 to 2 fruits per day, maybe 3. All right, especially if it's a lower GI fruit, say like apples, blueberries, pears, things of that nature. You can get away with a little bit higher. But if what is going to cause fat gain? Does anyone know what's probably the leading cause of fat gain? It'd be interesting to have some people maybe guess. Is it fruit? Is it something else? Is it a lack of exercise? Things of that nature. I'll give you guys a second to maybe throw it a guess. Well, the main thing that's going to be leading to fat gain, okay, is not fruit. Okay, like I said, fruit has a lot of benefits, especially if you're eating it in moderation. The main thing for fat gain is that you're eating a surplus of calories and empty calories, which fruit definitely is not. Fruit is very high in micronutrients. All right, fruit is high in antioxidants. You're getting a ton of benefits from fruit. The main thing that's going to make you gain weight and probably make you gain fat, remember, weight gain, fat gain very much go hand in hand, or is eating a surplus of calories. That's where fruit can lead to fat gain, right? Because if you're eating too much fruit and it's pushing you up over that maintenance of calories, then of course you're going to be increasing fat. And again, you want to make sure that you're sticking to the fruits that are higher. And again, this is just what studies are showing. And, even people who are dietitians, all right, people who work for a living in nutrition are telling us, all right, and what these studies are showing, all right, if you're eating a ton of fruits that are high in fructose and glucose, which again, monosaccharides, all right, and sucralose is the combination of both, All right, again, that can be stored as fat. We already know that because we've already discussed blood sugar spikes, insulin spikes, the liver converting it to triglycerides, and then the bigger chance of fat storage, of those sugars being stored as fat, especially if you're living a sedentary lifestyle where you're not burning them off. But they say we should eat 5 a day. Who says 5 a day? 5 a day would seem quite high. Maybe 5 fruits and vegetables per day, Jay. But I haven't seen very many people saying that we should be eating 5 a day. I could be wrong, but I'm just wondering what the source is for 5 fruits a day. That seems awfully high. Hi, Dr. Oh, Harinder, I'm not a doctor, but thank you for the compliment. Which fruits are good for weight reduction? Please suggest. Thank you very much. I appreciate that kind comment. So what's good for weight reduction? Well, for good weight reduction, there's no fruit that we can eat that's going to, in and of itself, help us to lose weight. All right, so there's no like fat burning effects or anything like that, but there are fruits that we can eat that can help us to lose weight. All right, so it's not like we can eat, say, let's just say grapes. So we can't eat grapes, and then grapes are going to in turn cause us, all right, maybe increase metabolism or help us to burn fat in and of itself. But there are foods that can help with, maintaining weight. And I think that's the most important thing, and even creating satiety so that we're not overeating. All right, I think that's the biggest thing. So what are some of those fruits? That's a great question, Harinder. The biggest ones, and I'll always say this, blueberries are a great choice. Why? Because they are very nutrient dense. They are very low in calories. Those are the types of fruits that you want. They're also very low GI fruit. All right, so they're very low on the glycemic index. You're not going to get those blood sugar spikes, or at least as much, from blueberries. Also, they're a good source of fiber, so that's going to help keep you satiated, so feeling full during the day. For feeling full, that's going to reduce the chance of snacking during the day. All right, again, if it's not creating blood sugar spikes, then you're not going to get crashes. Usually when we have crashes, that's when we really start to feel hungry. That's when we're more often than not going to turn to foods like your donut, your cookies, something where we're going to get instant gratification, satisfaction, a dopamine rush, and things like that. So blueberries are a good one. Another high fiber one, which is a good one, is apples. Apples are a great choice. Again, not because apples are going to be causing weight loss in and of themselves. All right, when we eat apples, to be honest, all right, if we eat an apple, all right, we're increasing our calories. So we're getting towards that maintenance. But what apples are going to do, especially with the skin on, keep the skin on, guys. Same thing with pears. All right. What apples are going to do is it's going to increase our intake of fiber. And fiber, again, slowing the rate of absorption of fructose and glucose into the blood, which isn't going to be creating as high or as much blood sugar spikes, creating those crashes. Apples are a good one, Harinder. All right, so apples are a nice one. Pears are a nice one. Pears are in for the exact same reason as apples. And I even think pears are even better because pears have even more dietary fiber than apples, pound for pound. All right, and again, keep the skin on. Keep the skin on for the pineapples, and raw, guys. I should mention, I don't think I've said this yet. Make sure that you're eating them raw, or if you're eating blueberries, frozen is fine as well. Nothing canned, all right? That way we're not getting added sugar or preservatives into it. Make sure that everything, if we can, raw fruits. Raw fruits are just fine, okay? Again, I would keep it towards that. Blueberries, if you want more, Harinder, I don't think you can go wrong with, say, other types of berries like raspberries, very high in fiber and very high in antioxidants. Going to help with satiety. They have that natural sweetness. And again, blackberries, very underrated. All right, lower GI, super high in fiber, not creating insulin spikes, which is going to create a crash, causing hunger, causing that, need to go out and eat without we're not with blackberries. Sorry, we're creating a higher level of satiety, and that's important because we want to have that fullness feeling. We don't want to eat the thing with mangoes and grapes. Yeah, they might give us that instant gratification, but an hour or two later, trust me, you're going to be wanting something else because you just increase your blood sugar, all right, which is creating a spike, and then you're going to have a little bit of a crash that's going to happen after that. And that's when we start to turn to different types of foods. We feel more hungry, that sort of stuff as well. All right, so those would be, I hope that answers your question, Harinder, especially with fruits for weight loss. You know, you can have watermelon and stuff like that, but just remember, these fruits in and of themselves are not going to cause you to lose weight. Like I've seen the videos out there that drink lemon water in the morning, burn belly fat. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is these are high fibrous fruits, all right, that are going to keep you satiated for longer, that aren't creating blood sugar spikes and then creating a blood sugar crash. Okay, because once we get that blood sugar, and again, no blood sugar spike, all right, which isn't going to increase insulin production, which is converted again to triglycerides through the liver, again, which is going to, you know, potentially increase the chance of us storing that as body fat. So those are why I would suggest those. And thank you so much for the likes, guys. I see we're at 16. We're over that halfway mark. And Lydia, good. I'm glad you're still here. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Again, the best is when I can engage fully with you guys. Just being able to engage and answer your questions really, really helps. All right, because again, I don't want to come off as saying that fruit is bad for you. I do not believe that 100%. All right, I do not believe 100% that fruit in and of itself is going to make you fat or to cause fat gain. What's going to be called, I mean, fruit has so many benefits. It's a catch-22 because there is those simple sugars. All right, but if we're eating it in moderation, if we're eating the right types of fruits, then we are 100% okay. All right, fruit will not make you fat. It's that big question out there all the time. Well, how much fruit should I be eating? All right, I know that there's sugar in fruit. You know, is that going to cause me to gain fat or body weight? All right. Again, in moderation, that's your best friend. Moderation is the best friend here, guys. And eating the right fruits, which I've gone over a multitude of times. Okay, so what is going to, you know, we already know the fruits. We already know that fruit has fructose, glucose, can create sucralose and everything of that nature. You know, what is going to cause fat gain? And why, you know, sometimes is fruit sort of combined or at least, you know, brought into the conversation of gaining fat. Again, it all comes down to calories. It all comes down to calories. Total calories in versus total calories out. A lot of people, what they do and what we're finding studies of, you know, they think, again, because there's been this long-term combination of fruits and vegetables, again, you don't really have to, if you're eating dark leafy green vegetables and other vegetables, those are safe. You don't really have to count the calories to that. I mean, if you eat a cup of broccoli versus a cup of grapes, there's a huge discrepancy and a huge difference of how many calories you're actually eating. All right, so if you're eating these fruits, what the biggest thing is, and what the biggest takeaway is, the reason why that they're brought into the conversation is just because of their overall calorie count. All right, and yes, it's increasing blood sugar levels. We already know that. We've been through that. But you're increasing your calorie intake. All right, and that's something that we want to limit, because if you're only supposed to be eating 2,000 calories a day to maintain your weight, and you're overdoing it on fruit and you're not counting calories, or you're not considering how many calories are in these fruits, that's when you're going to push over your maintenance levels and gain weight, gain fat. That's why fruit is usually brought into the equation. A lot of people overdo it with fruit. You know, we haven't talked a lot about oranges. Oranges are another thing. All right, a little bit of fiber. Oranges would probably be on like the second level if I was to suggest any types of fruits and things like that. Bananas also aren't too bad, but again, moderation. Nothing wrong with bananas, guys, but we want to keep it in moderation. They're fairly high in calories, for one. All right, and they're a little bit, you know, they're a pretty good GI fruit, but they do have a lot of carbs, and they do have a lot of fructose and glucose in them. All right. Again, that's not to say people will take that and then think I'm saying don't eat bananas or I'm a hater of bananas. Trust me, I eat at least one banana a day, sometimes two. But then if I'm doing that, I usually don't have any other fruits other than like half a cup or a cup, usually half a cup of blueberries with it. So again, I'm kind of following my own advice, keeping it in moderation. And you're very welcome, Harinder. My pleasure. I hope you guys are getting something out of this live stream. I hope what you're not getting is what I'm saying is fruit will make you fat. Fruit is an enemy, because that is the exact opposite of what I'm saying. I think what the main point is we have to consider that yes, fruit does have fructose and glucose and can lead to sucrose entering the body, because again, the combination of both those monosaccharides will create a disaccharide, which is sucralose. And then so we have to keep the fruit in moderation. We don't want to overdo it on fruit. Another important thing to consider when we're eating fructose, even though, yes, fruit, that's fruit sugar, even though glucose, yes, that's a natural sugar, it's going to cause an increase in blood sugar. You're going to get spikes in blood sugar, which is going to create a spike in insulin, which is then going to be converted by the liver into triglycerides. And when we have that happening, that's when we have the potential for these types of sugars to be stored as fat. That's what I want you to take away. So it is not, I know I've said this 100 times by now, but it's not a fruit hating stream. Fruit in and of itself will not make you fat. Eating a surplus of calories is what causes weight gain. All right, eating a surplus of protein, eating a surplus of carbohydrates, eating a surplus of healthy fats or fats in general is going to cause weight gain, fat gain. Heck, you would have to eat a lot of it, but eating too many vegetables is going to cause weight gain. The reason why I say you have to eat a lot of it is vegetables tend to be lower in calories, especially when we compare them to fruits. Your body doesn't know. At the end of the day, your body does not know. If it's in a surplus, it doesn't really care if it's in a surplus of vegetables. If it, say your at maintenance is 2,000, it doesn't know or care if you're 500 calories over because you ate a ton of dark leafy green vegetables, or if you ate fruit, or if you ate healthy fats, things of that nature. The fact that you're over your maintenance in any food is what's going to be causing weight gain. And man, you guys are pushing it like crazy. 19 thumbs up now. Thank you so much, guys. We're almost at 20. Again, the goal always is 30. You guys are rocking it. Thank you so much. How much fruits can children have? As for them, they are at school. My daughter has red grapes and mainly satsumas. Never heard of satsumas. With children, I don't really like to get into it as much. I haven't read as many studies for how much fruits children should be eating. I think the most important thing, again, is just moderation. It's good for children, obviously, to be getting micronutrients and things of that nature. I mean, 1 or 2 pieces of fruit I wouldn't consider a bad thing. All right, but just make sure that it's the same thing as adults. All right, moderation. All right, and so it's going to be less than adults because they need less calories. So maybe, half an apple, a few red grapes, not a ton, things of that nature. All right, but, with children, I don't tend to necessarily like to give too much advice with them because most of the studies I've done and heard and read and researched are on adults and not children. So I don't necessarily like to give a ton of advice based on children. But again, moderation is key, Jay. Moderation is key. Lydia, that's awesome. Thank you. Clementines are satsumas. Okay, very nice. See, I'm getting educated on the different names. It's awesome. Sometimes I'll be researching a food and it'll be called something different somewhere else. It just allows me to learn. So clementines, that's a nice one. Clementine's very high in vitamin C and all of that good stuff, obviously, which is very nice. Again, you just don't want to overdo it with the clementines. I know I keep going back to it again because they are high in fructose and glucose. All right, especially if you're pairing it with red grapes and things like that. Again, I don't want to comment too much on your daughter, just because with children, stuff like that. Again, most of my research is with adults. But again, clementines can be a little bit higher in carbohydrates, even though they're small, but they're very sweet, very lots of fructose and glucose in there, which is the two are creating sucralose. So would either have sometimes an apple with her lunch. Yeah, the apple is very nice. And again, I'm not saying that's too much fruit, or she should be having this fruit opposed to that fruit. Again, guys, take this in moderation. Will fruit make you fat? Well, only if you're eating too much of it. Okay? Only if you're eating too much of it will fruit cause. And again, the title is, will it make you fat? The real question boils down to, will it create body fat or weight gain? And again, it's only going to cause that, all right, if we are eating too much of it and not eating it in moderation. Again, that can be said with anything else. The important takeaway is we have to know that fruit does have simple sugars, all right, even though natural, even though fruit sugar, all right, which is going to create blood sugar spikes, especially those high GI fruits. All right, especially those high GI fruits. All right, if we're eating a high GI fruit, say more like mangoes, papayas, things like that, if we're overdoing it in those types of fruits, you are certainly, and grapes is a big one. All right, I can't eat grapes. It's just too sugary for me. It creates too much of a blood sugar spike in my body. I've gone over this in other streams, but grapes for me just have too much natural sugar in them, or too much fruit sugar in them. All right, the combination of both, fructose and glucose. And I just don't react well to it. It makes me feel lethargic. I'm very dehydrated after, so we know that, we are creating spikes, things of that nature. All right, and I always feel hungry right after. I'm never satiated after eating grapes. Never. Maybe for like an hour because those calories are in there, but 2 hours, 2.5 hours later, I am hungry. I am starving. It's not the same as an apple for me. All right, so I'm not only just saying this based on studies that I've read or working with clients. This is things that I'm coming at you guys through my own lived experience. Okay, and then the studies kind of help back it up, and with clients and getting feedback. Don't forget, I've worked with probably hundreds of clients at this point. Getting feedback from them as well. It's just how it is. The fruits that are higher in fructose and glucose are going to be creating higher and more blood sugar spikes, which again, more insulin, which again, more triglycerides, which can lead to the potential of fat storage. So keep that in mind. Persimmons are nice. Nectarines are nice too. Again, just keep those in moderation, Madhu. I just rhymed that without even trying. And again, guys, this is definitely 100% not a fruit hating stream. Eat your fruit. Just make sure we have it in moderation. And again, we can choose the right fruits. All right, just like there's good foods and bad foods. There's superfoods and just normal foods. It's the same thing with fruits. Some fruits are just going to be better than others. All right, and the ones that are better for others when it comes to limiting fat gain and weight gain are going to be your berries. All right, and they're super calorie, they're low in calories but super nutrient dense. Your apples, your pears, oranges to a certain extent, bananas to a certain extent if we're eating them in moderation, because bananas have that nice resistant starch and pectin, especially more green bananas. Like more unripe bananas are a nice choice. Have those. You guys can eat them. That's not going to make you fat as long as we're having them in moderation. I'm a big fruit fan myself, I do eat fruit, and I eat it every single day. I start my morning off, I'll have a workout, and then I'll immediately have a banana right after that. I put blueberries in my oatmeal. I put blueberries in smoothies. I'll put raspberries in there sometimes. Sometimes I'll have 2 bananas, all right, and things like that. So I am definitely do not consider me a fruit hater by any means. All right, we just have to make sure that we're eating the right fruit and keeping it in moderation, sorry. Purple N81. Hello, can you make a video about fatty liver? Well, that's interesting you bring that up, Purple N, because there is a video on fatty liver. on the channel. If you go to the main page and you click on videos, and then you go to the search function and just type in fatty liver, you will find a video on fatty liver, 100%. I know I've done that video. It's funny, I've done probably almost 5,000 videos, but I can still remember precisely which videos have been done and which ones I haven't done. But certainly fatty liver is one of them, because that's one of the ones I, remember researching and learned a lot from. So fatty liver is definitely up there, my friend. So I hope you enjoy that video. And I found it very interesting. I learned a lot from doing video. I learned a lot from doing all the videos, but I remember specifically learning a lot from that video. Okay, so again, guys, don't be scared of fruit. Let's just make sure we're eating it in moderation. Again, if you're thinking of it as a pyramid, first water's at the bottom, vegetables at the water. No problem. My pleasure, Purple Land. All right. After that, you're going to maybe want some animal protein or something along those lines. After that, healthy fats. After that comes probably fruit somewhere in between there. All right. Protein. All right. Maybe whole grains even before fruit, like whole grains, things of that nature, depending on what type of diet you're on. All right. We cannot overdo it at fruit, but at the same time, we do not want to be scared of fruit. All right. It will not make you fat unless you're overdoing it, unless you're eating a surplus of calories. And again, if you guys have questions on certain fruits and things like that, by all means, please bring them up. Like with Purple Land, he just asked a question about fatty liver. All right. And now he knows that there's a video out there, and he's going to go watch that video, and he's going to learn something new from that video, which is amazing. All right. So if you guys, have any other questions, please feel free to ask, because we're going to keep going here for a little bit. All right. I want to make sure that we get a good discussion going. I don't want to, just get on here and go through the motions. We've already actually been going for 71 minutes. Pretty hard to believe. Unbelievable. These streams for me just fly by. I actually love doing them. Now, again, the other thing that's going to cause fat gain that I need you guys to know and take away from this stream is eating a surplus of calories. Again, that can come from fruit, that can come from protein, that can come from healthy fats, complex carbohydrates, even vegetables. All right, because some vegetables are fairly high in calories. Beets, things of that nature. All right, so we need to make sure that we're watching our overall calorie intake. We're at 19 thumbs up, guys. We've been at that 19 for a little while. If we can hit that 20, if someone can give me that 20, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, guys, for smashing the like button. And again, just because people are asking, if you do want to, we had a couple of people at the beginning, if you do want to support the channel, the main way to support the channel is through the super chat function. There's never going to be a membership on this channel. I cannot foresee that. I do not want that. The reason why is I do not want to close the discussion down to people who are only members. Thank you so much, whoever hit the 20 like. I appreciate that so much. But the reason why I don't want the membership is because I don't want to close the chat off to people who are only members, forcing you to become a member of the channel to make sure that you can chat. I do not want that. Thank you, whoever hit 21. God, you guys are crushing it. I appreciate you so much. And there'll never be a PO box, all right? A PO box or anything like that. I do not want to make anything like that. But if you've enjoyed the videos over the last 8 years, if you enjoyed these streams over the last 4 months, probably getting on to 5 months here, every single Wednesday, every single Sunday, that super chat function is the best way to get back to the channel, all right? And I appreciate that. And the thumbs up and all the views, all right, and all the nice discussions that we have every single week, all the nice discussions that we have in the comment section of the videos. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate it. So thank you very much. And again, super chat is the only way that we're going to be giving back on this channel. I do not want memberships. So thank you so much, guys. We'll leave it at that. So another thing that I want to make sure that you guys are kind of taken away, because you guys are all smart. You guys are I can just tell with everyone asking their questions, I can tell that, you guys know what you're talking about. So let's bring this up as well. If we are eating fruit that are higher in GI, so I know Lydia, I know Nadine, Jay maybe, Harinder, Marianne, I know some other people in here, Madhu, Rawan, thank you so much for posting. I know that there's a lot of people and people who are going to listen to this video after. If you are eating a higher GI fruit, so say like grapes, say mangoes. All right, mangoes is the one that's kind of the go-to when it comes to high GI fruits. People really love mangoes, and like I said, it's known as the king of fruits. Very nutritious for you. Just make sure you're having in moderation. If you are eating that type of fruit, make sure, or at least try to, pair it up with a fiber. All right, pair it up with a fiber because that's going to slow down the absorption, especially of the fructose and the glucose. Or even better, pair it up with a protein. And even better yet, pair it up with a fiber and a protein. All right, both are going to slow down the digestion of the digestion of the fructose and the glucose. So if you do like those higher GI fruits, pair them up with the protein and with the fat. All right, and that way you're slowing down the absorption. Purple, I just discovered about your videos hours ago. So far you're enjoying them, I hope. Well, thank you so much, Purple, and that's awesome. And it's great. You just found them, and then you're already in stream here in our live. So thank you very much for coming in and asking your question. And thank you so much for enjoying the videos and for watching the videos. Again, I really like hearing and really enjoy hearing when people are not only discover the videos, but when they're taking something away from them and enjoying them. So thanks so much for that comment. Makes my day hearing that. So again, guys, that's another nice sort of important little tidbit, little trick that you can do if you are eating sort of high GI fruits. Pair them up with a fiber, a protein, or with both of them. All right, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's going to only slow down the absorption rate, especially of those high GI, of the simple sugars and things like that. And again, it limits, what it does is it limits how much of a blood sugar spike that we're going to have. And so that's the main thing, all right, because the blood sugar leads to an increase in insulin, which leads to an increase in triglycerides and then being stored as fat. So it's important that if we can, try to pair it up with the fiber and with the protein, okay? Now, some very popular fruits out there, and again, you'll hear this from nutritionists all the time, just with as much research that I've done. All right, pairing it up with protein is a good one. All right, I think that's one of the best things you can do. But even through my research, with a fiber is very good as well. All right, I mean, you're wanting to stick to lower glycemic fruits, which are high in fiber. Why not pair it up with a fiber as well? Okay, why not pair it up with a fiber such as it could be anything. It could be nuts and seeds. It can be like flax seeds are a great one. It can even be with, say, like oatmeal, or with a complex carbohydrate like beans. All right, maybe you have a recipe with beans in it, and then you're pairing those ones up, because that's going to help not only fill you up, but lead to fewer blood sugar fluctuations. All right, because the blood sugar fluctuations, they're going to interfere with appetite and fat metabolism. Those are the big takeaways, guys. Huge takeaways. All right, that's why I keep saying it. All right, Rowan got a nice comment here. Let me just read it real quick here. Regarding pairing, if you were to pair, wouldn't it cause digestive issues? Well, it just depends, Rowan. That's an interesting question. All right, if you're, pairing it up with, Madhu, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, great choice. So, Rowan, let me focus on your question. Fermentation with a protein source, especially if it's cooked protein. Haven't read too much on that, to be honest with you. All right, if you're pairing it up with a protein source, causing digestive issues, especially, if you're eating protein protein is your main macronutrient. Fat is one of your main macronutrients. There's 3 of them: protein, fat, and carbs. Fruit is a carb. All right, it's not a complex carb. It's more of a simple carbohydrate. All right, so I'm not sure why there would be a digestive issue between the two, because basically you're just eating normal macronutrients: protein, fat, carbohydrates. Even though it's a simple carbohydrate, it's still a carbohydrate nonetheless, as opposed to a complex carbohydrate. And then you're also getting fiber, which some people will include in their macronutrients. So I can't think of, for like an example, fermentation with a protein source, especially if it's cooked protein. I've never read anything on that. All I have really read is a fat or protein. If you're trying to lower the blood absorption of fructose and sucralose, and of fructose and glucose, pairing it up with a protein is one of your best bets. I'm not sure if you have the source, or if you have like the type of foods for pairing, that would be even better. And again, cooked protein source, most of them are going to be cooked, all right? Unless you're having like a whey protein, unless you're having like a true protein source. Remember, guys, a true protein source is going to be like your chicken, eggs, turkey, lean ground beef, things of that nature. Yes, beans are high in protein. Yes, seeds and like what Madhu just said, chia seeds and pumpkin seeds. Yes, of course, those are going to have some protein in them. But are they a protein source? I would argue not. Why? Because they have more fat than they do protein. So if you're eating chia seed, or let's just even take a tablespoon of peanut butter, so peanuts, all right? They're not a bad fat source. Let's say you were to have a tablespoon of peanut butter, all right, and you're going to use that as a protein source. Well, if let's say you're trying to get to 25 grams of protein, or even more, to make it easier, let's say you're going to try to get 24 grams of protein. So you want to increase your protein. You need 6 tablespoons of peanut butter. All right, so you're going to hit that 24 grams of protein, but guess what else you're going to hit? 79. All right, 42 grams of fat. So is it really worth to get 42 grams of fat just to get the 24 grams of protein? Probably not, because you're also getting, if you're having that, you're also getting 400 calories, all right, which is a ton. That's a lot of calories in there. I've noticed some. Hi, Mali. Hope I'm pronouncing that right, and I hope you're having a great day. And thank you guys so much. Geez, I just look over and we're already at 25 likes. Unbelievable. We are almost at the goal. We are 5 away. I don't know if I've ever hit 31 or 32. So, man, we are well on our way to maybe a new record here. I've noticed some digestive issues, in particular due to the fact that fruit digests much quicker. And pairing it with really any cooked food can interfere with how the body digests and metabolizes it. Well, that's a very interesting take, Rawan. Like I said, I haven't read any studies on that. This could be something, just basically that maybe it's something that you're dealing with. You might be a little bit more sensitive to something like that, but I've never read a study, or I've never had a client or myself that I can say that pairing a fruit, just because it digests a little bit quicker than, say, like a fat or protein or something like that, all right, is going to cause any sort of digestive issue. Like almost every single day, I'll combine the two, and a lot. Same with my clients. And again, I've worked with hundreds of them. It would be like saying, we can't combine macronutrients if we're eating a well-balanced diet. We're going to be combining macronutrients throughout the whole entire day. Remember, your macronutrients are protein, carbohydrates, fat, and maybe fiber listed in there. So that might be something that you want to take a look at, Rawan. Maybe you might be a little bit more sensitive to it, or if maybe, I'm not sure if you have any other digestive issues or anything along those lines. Yes, and metabolizes it. just never heard any studies or never heard anyone with that sort of same issue with pairing certain things. There's going to be foods that digest quicker, and it doesn't even have to be fruit, that are going to digest quicker than, say, cooked food or anything like that. Cooked food, protein, doesn't really matter. All right, there's going to be foods that, have a quicker stomach emptying than others. So that's quite an interesting take, but I can't say I've really read anything on that, Rowan. So I apologize, I can't give you a better answer, but that might be something you want to look into. Maybe it's like a sensitivity that you might have. I would talk to your maybe medical practitioner about that. And Malit, my pleasure, no problem. My pleasure sharing with you guys. Like I said, I really enjoy these chats and being able to go one-on-one and discuss with you. Is it true that kiwi has more vitamin C than oranges? I believe it is, to be honest with you. I think kiwi is like pound for pound one of the highest vitamin C sources that there is. Oranges do have a lot. But again, I think it's like pound for pound. So if you were to have 100 grams of kiwi versus 100 grams of oranges, I think you're getting a little bit more vitamin C in the kiwi. So yes, I would say you are getting more vitamin C in kiwi than you are oranges. That's pound for pound though. So you would have to eat a little bit more kiwi than oranges. Just to be able to get that vitamin C. So sometimes people just will go to the orange and then eat the orange instead of eating, a bunch of kiwi to try to get that vitamin C. But pound for pound, so for eating 100 grams, I think you're getting almost double the vitamin C in kiwi than in oranges. Kiwi's an amazing source of vitamin C. So that's a great question, Purple, and thanks for bringing that up, especially for people who are interested in vitamin C. Interesting. Thank you for taking. Oh, my pleasure. And again, maybe speak with your medical practitioner. I'm not sure if there's there could be digestive issues in general. I'm not saying that there is. I certainly wouldn't say that. I don't know your history or anything, your health history or anything like that. But maybe take a look at that and then see if if there's any sensitivities or stuff like that you might be dealing with. So again, the main question, will fruit make you fat? No. The main takeaway is the only way fruit is going to make you fat is if you're overdoing it with fruit, if you're not eating it in moderation, if you're eating it and it's causing you to go over a surplus of calories. Another takeaway is that we have to know that, yes, fruit does have sugar in it. It's natural sugar. It's fruit sugar. So, your natural sugar, your fruit sugar, both combining to create sucralose. So we know that there is sugars, obviously, in fruits. Now, how does that affect our body? Well, even though it's natural sugar, even though it's simple sugar, it's still going to create a rise and spike in our blood sugar, which is going to lead to insulin being created, which can be converted and cause our liver to create triglycerides. And when that happens, we have a much bigger chance of the triglycerides, so basically the sugars, being stored as fat. That's the main takeaway that I want you guys to take away from this, because a lot of people will sort of just sweep under the rug that, fruit has sugar in it. It's fructose, so that's okay. Fructose is good for me. Glucose is fine. Glucose is okay for me. But we have to know that both of them combine to make sucralose. A monosaccharide with fructose and glucose, and then a disaccharide. All right, so that just means that sucralose is a simple sugar, just like any other sugar that you're going to have. All right, so that's going to affect the body a little bit. Now, does that mean that it's going to make you fat or cause you to have fat gain? Absolutely not. You just got to make sure you have it in moderation. Make sure you're sticking to 1, 2, maybe 3. Make sure you're sticking to the right fruits. We already talked about that. We have a whole list of what the right fruits would be. And if you're eating, higher glycemic index fruits, again, just make sure you're having it in moderation. Maybe 1 to 2 servings of that per day. Again, I do not want this to come off as a fruit hating stream. It's certainly not that. I eat fruit every day. I get my clients to eat fruit. So it's certainly not a fruit hating stream. And I see we're at 26. We are 4 likes away, guys, from that 30. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. You benefit more from boiling the orange skin. There's more vitamin C in the orange skin itself. Interesting. Yeah, I think I have a video where I talk about boiling the skins and creating a tea out of it. And then a nice thing is that you can sort of add different type of ingredients to that, Jay. Like I had a nice one. It was, I believe, orange skins and cinnamon was a nice sort of tea. And you're getting a bunch of different benefits from both of those ingredients. Like with the cinnamon, that's helping to, again, that's not going to be creating blood sugar spikes. It's actually going to help control and regulate blood sugar spikes, which is nice with the cinnamon, and also a ton of antioxidants and things like that. Again, another big takeaway from this stream and from this live is that if you are having the higher GI foods, all right, or fruits, try to pair it with a protein, healthy fat, fiber, things like that. That's going to slow down the absorption rate. That's going to cause less of a blood sugar spike, less insulin being created, and triglycerides and all of that type of stuff. All right. Now, well, let's break it down. And what will cause fat gain? What will cause weight gain? The only way, you guys, one big takeaway that I want you to take away from this live as well, especially that I have you in here. We're at 91 minutes. The big takeaway that I want you guys to have is that in order to gain fat, in order to gain weight, the main thing that has to happen is that you're eating a surplus of calories. So let's say Jay's maintenance level of calories is 2,000 calories. If he's eating 2,500 calories per day, and let's say no exercise, you're just eating 500 calories excess per day, maybe even with exercise, then he's going to be gaining 1 pound a week. Okay, because a surplus of 500 calories every single day, you times that by 5. To gain 1 pound, you have to be in a surplus of 3,500 calories. So when you're doing that, let's say you do that for weeks, for months, all right, now we're really talking about weight gain, and now we're really talking about fat gain as well. Okay, so the only way fruit's going to do that is if it pushes you over the surplus, or if you're not eating fruit in moderation and it's causing you to eat too many calories per day. Kaz, good to see you in here. Thank you so much for the comment. Orange and cinnamon tea, love that. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I have a video on it. I believe there's a recipe in there. So if you want to look up orange and cinnamon tea, or if you're already drinking it, even better. But yeah, that was an interesting one. It was created a couple years ago, and I told you guys, I remember the videos that I make, even though there's thousands of them on the channel. But the orange and cinnamon one was a very interesting one. Another question. Is it better? Okay, this is a very good question. Another question. Is it better to eat fruits in the morning time? I'm just wondering because I heard that if you eat fruits during the night, it could be bad for you since they're sweet fruits. Well, again, it depends. That's a good question, Purple Ann. So now we're talking about nutrient timing. All right. Is it better to eat our fruit more so in the morning than at nighttime? A lot of people will argue it's better to eat carbohydrates. All right. So in the morning or the afternoon or anything like that. I think, again, if you're eating it in moderation and the types of fruits that you're eating, all right, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Actually, it could be a good thing because a lot of people will go for, junk food at nighttime. All right, you can kind of help satiate yourself and get rid of some of those cravings. But there was a big study that was done where people were eating carbohydrates, and I believe some of them were simple carbs, almost like a fruit, up until like 30 minutes before bed. And then there was another group that was eating carbohydrates up until I think like 3 or 4 p.m. So a number of hours before bedtime. And there was absolutely no difference in weight gain or anything like that, just as long as they were eating it in moderation and the calories were at maintenance. So do you have to eat all your fruits in the morning? Absolutely not. Just make sure you're eating the right fruits. Sometimes I'll make a smoothie before bed. If I'm really hungry and I want to get some superfoods in, I'll throw avocado, blueberries, maybe half a banana in there, and I'll have that before bed. A lot of my clients will do the same. And as long as we're at our calorie maintenance, since they're sweet fruits, even if they're sweet fruits, all right, again, you can add certain stuff with them at nighttime, like that protein, like that. What I'll do is sometimes add avocado in there, so you're getting a 2-for-1. You're getting healthy monounsaturated fats that are going to slow down a little bit of that absorption, and also a lot of fiber. Not much protein, but it's like negligible amount of protein with the avocado. So the avocado is a nice one to kind of pair up with it. If you're super worried about it, I would eat the fruits in the morning. But again, we're seeing with studies that nutrient timing isn't necessarily as important as just making sure that you're eating around your maintenance levels. That way for weight gain, fat loss, everything that kind of stems from that. But yeah, it was a very interesting study, and it kind of turned a lot of heads because people were thinking that you had to cut carbs or fruit and things like that after a certain time during the day. So people weren't eating any carbohydrates like an hour, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours before bedtime. And then this study came out. People were eating carbohydrates right up until bedtime, and they were seeing no negative effects from it. And I can just tell you from personal experience, I've eaten carbs 30 minutes, an hour before bed. No difference, as long as I'm watching what I eat and I'm keeping it at maintenance level. So that's a very good question, Purple Ann. But yeah, the cinnamon's a good one too, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to help regulate blood sugar. Cinnamon is one of them. Avocado is another one. All right. A lot of teas can work on that. If you're going to have it at nighttime, I would suggest having a low caffeine tea. All right, that's going to help. There's a lot of, even turmeric is going to help a little bit. Now, turmeric is a little bit strong. I'll throw it into my smoothies. I will throw cinnamon into my nighttime smoothie as well, Ceylon cinnamon. So I'm kind of, lowering the chance of getting a blood sugar increase or blood sugar spike. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do. I see we're still at that 26 thumbs up. We're getting close, guys. We're so close to the 30. If we can just get a couple people hitting that like button, we're going to be at 30 in no time. You guys just literally flew past into the 20s. I didn't even see it happen. We went from like 15 into like 24. So I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. But yeah, nutrient timing we're seeing is less and less important, just as long as you're eating a maintenance of calories. So again, guys, not a fruit hating stream, but just remember that there is fructose and glucose in fruits, and then that has to have. All right, just because we know that our body breaks down these compounds and these nutrients a certain way, it's going to have an effect on our body, and it can have a certain effect on weight gain and fat gain. All right, and we have to remember that. But just stick to the good fruits that we've mentioned in this stream. All right, and if you do have some of the other ones, all right, that are higher in GI, again, there's not necessarily good versus bad. All right, we just have to know that there's higher fructose and glucose fruits out there, which is going to lead to higher amount of sucralose. All right, if you are doing that, keep it in moderation, maybe pair it up with like a fiber or something like that to help slow down the absorption rate. But in and of itself, fruit will not make you fat. I don't even like you really using that word, but it will not cause weight gain or push you to, increase in body fat in and of itself. Even though, so many times we hear people like scared of eating fruit. The only way it's going to do that is if you're overdoing it in fruit. All right. If you're eating too much, all right. If you're eating a surplus of calories from fruit. Will the turmeric powder be good for smoothies? Because I put it in my smoothies. Yes, absolutely, Purple Ann. I put it in almost all the smoothies that I have. And it doesn't have to be a lot. That's one thing on this channel that a lot of people think, when I'm saying that add turmeric or add this to teas and stuff like that, that you have to add like tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half. Literally, I add, and you're hearing it from the source, I add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder to my smoothies. But I can get away with that, and you guys can too, because that's, at the end of the day, it's not a lot. It's half a teaspoon. All right, so it's basically 1/6 of a tablespoon, I believe. Yes, 1/6 of a tablespoon. Or if you're having it consistently, all right, you're going to get the benefits from it. So if you're having it day in and day out, you are going to get those benefits from the turmeric powder. You do not have to overdo it, all right, when it comes to spices and herbs and things like that. In fact, you don't want to overdo it, all right? Just wouldn't probably be the healthiest choice to make. All right. And they're so nutrient dense and everything like that. You're getting more than enough nutrients, more than enough of those bioactive compounds such as like curcumin and turmeric. So you do not have to overdo it. Now we're at the 100-minute mark. All right, we're going to keep on going here. Thank you so much to everyone who's been watching. I really appreciate it. We're going to keep rolling here because there's a couple more things I want to say. You guys are doing an awesome job. We're 3 away from that 30 thumbs up. All right. Again, if you want to support the channel, you guys are crushing it with the 28 thumbs up there. Beautiful. Great engagement in the chat. And if you feel so inclined to support the channel, if you've gotten a lot out of it, if you've gotten a lot out of these live streams, all right, a super chat always goes a long way in supporting the channel and just lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content, and that's the main thing. I want you guys enjoying the content and learning from the content. All right, that's why I got into this. All right, not only educating myself, but being able to educate and help educate others or build on the education of others as well. All right, I know you guys, like I said, there's a lot of smart people in here with a lot of great questions, a lot of good engagement. All right, I know that you guys, when it comes to diet and nutrition, all right, you guys have a good base, but I just want to help add to that base. And if I can do that, then I'm doing my job. So again, no PO box, no memberships. The only way is through the super chats. And again, I really appreciate that. So with fruit, again, try not to overdo it. If you are, cut 1 to 2, maybe 3, again, especially in the summer, since that's when a lot of fruits are coming out. Cantaloupe I know is coming out because I've been buying it. You're getting more and more fresh oranges and stuff like that. Super popular. If you want to go to 1, 2, 3, all right, 0 to 2 or 1 to 2 is more than fine. Anything over that, I would be careful. All right, maybe 3, and just make sure that we're eating healthy at the same time. If you're eating healthy with the fruit, we should be pretty fine. Just keep it in moderation. Again, fruit in and of itself will not cause you to gain weight. It's the same thing with really any macronutrient. All right, if you're overdoing it with any macronutrient, there's potential for weight gain, which brings on the potential for gaining fat. That's all it is, and it's only because it's pushing you up in the calories. All right, again, gaining and losing weight is all about calories in versus calories out. So as long as you're doing a good job of keeping those calories, at your maintenance level, then you're not going to be having to worry about weight gain or fat gain and everything of that nature. All right, so I hope you guys got some good fruits to take out of this. There's so many of them. There's so many low GI ones. There's so many low GI fruits that it's almost endless with the possibility. People were bringing up fruits that I'd never heard of. It just goes to show you how many fruits there are out there. Especially tropical fruits. Like I said, the ones that I hadn't heard of, I kind of guessed that they're tropical fruits because I'll tell you, I'm not from a tropical area. So when I hear those fruits, a good chance is that it's usually a tropical fruit that I hadn't heard of. But we do have a lot of tropical fruits on the channel. I just did one on dragon fruit, I believe. That's one of my favorite ones to do. I love the look of it. I find it very interesting. So if you're interested in tropical fruits, there's tons on the channel. Hey, my pleasure, Purple Land. My pleasure. And again, with the turmeric, you don't have to overdo it. Turmeric powder is one of the best spices that you can have, if not the best. And I think it's one of the most researched spices out there, if not foods out there, just because of all its amazing medicinal benefits, all of its powerful anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, all of that good stuff. The curcumin, a nice strong bioactive compound. So I really appreciate it, guys. And, we're going to keep these streams up. And we'll keep them up, with the support that you guys are. Here's a really big misconception. A lot of people think that my full-time job is as a YouTuber, where it's just not the case. I have other jobs, day jobs. This is a passion project for me. So as long as we're keeping the support up and everything like that, I'm more than happy to come on here for close to 2 hours and discuss with you guys. But I am certainly not a YouTuber. This is not my job. It's, like I said, a passion project and something that I enjoy doing. So as long as I see we're at 28 thumbs up. If we can push that to 30, man, you guys have really rocked it today. And the other thing is, and a lot of people think it's almost like a team working on this channel, because there's so many different channels out there where people see a bunch of different people working on it. They'll do the editing, they'll do the research, they'll voice it over. I'm doing all the research, I'm voicing everything over, I'm writing all the scripts, I'm putting the videos up myself. So a big misconception is there's a whole team behind this, but really, the daily videos and these streams are just coming from yours truly. So the support is greatly appreciated. If we can keep the support up, these live streams will continue to happen. All right. So if we can do that, like we're at 28 likes, that's amazing. All right. Especially we've sort of exploded towards the end here. We're almost at that 30 goal. And, it takes time to research these topics. And that's why I love doing it for you guys. I love researching it and then bringing that research and then sharing it with you guys. So if we can keep the support up and keep, having these great engagements and great discussions, we're just going to keep rolling every Wednesday, every Sunday, around the same time. And, daily videos as it is. But again, it's a passion project. I'm certainly not a YouTuber by trade. That's not, this is not my job. So I just want to make that clear as well, because some people have been sort of asking that. I'll hear that in chat sometimes when I do these lives. But no, I am not a YouTuber, and it's not my main job. So again, this is my day off. On my day off, I'm choosing to come on here and speak with you guys. So thank you so much for the engagement, and any support given is greatly appreciated, guys. So thank you so much. We're gonna end here now. We've been going for almost 2 hours. Unbelievable. Talking about fruit and talking about a number of different stuff, answering questions. So I really appreciate it. Big shout out to Deborah for showing her support. Haven't been able to thank her in the live stream yet, but shout out to Deborah if you are listening to this. There's a good chance that you are. So big shout out to you. And, big shout out to everyone who is in chat. Again, I really appreciate having you guys in here, watching the videos daily, coming into these streams. And then those of you who are going to be watching or listening to this later on once it's put up, again, appreciate all of you. So everyone have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. I will be back live on Wednesday, and we'll have another video going up tomorrow. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And we will talk to you live on Wednesday. And again, daily videos going up from there. So thank you very much. Everyone have a great day. Very much enjoyed the conversation. I hope you